Hey guys, LevelCap here, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Gaming. We make this show every week, so be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to catch the next one. Call of Duty Modern Warfare's Battle Royale mode, Warzone, has been a smash hit. The mode launched as a free-to-play standalone game and racked up 6 million players in its first 24 hours. Modern Warfare owners have the mode included in their copy of the game, carrying over all their progress from the standard multiplayer. In addition to the Battle Royale mode, Warzone also features a respawn mode called Plunder. For anyone that's played Battlefield Hardline, you might recognize some similarities between Plunder and Hardline's Blood Money mode. Plunder has players fighting to collect cash via kills and objectives. The first squad to earn $1 million wins. Obviously, the Battle Royale mode is Warzone's main attraction, and Infinity Ward are already working on tweaks and fixes for it. The first major fix is for an exploit that lets squads stay alive in the gas circle forever. Players could take turns reviving each other in the gas with no penalties. So if you desperately wanted to win a match, you and your squad could just run directly into the gas and start rezzing each other. Infinity Ward issued a hotfix for this exploit quickly. They didn't really explain what they did to fix it, but the exploit doesn't work anymore. Another issue they'll be addressing is who is awarded kills on downed players. Currently, whoever lands the final shot on a downed player gets the kill. So you could go through all the effort of downing an enemy only to have the associated reward like XP, cash, and bounties stolen by someone else who snuck in the killing shot. The game's next major update will give the kill to whoever downed the player. As for expanding Warzone's player count beyond 150 total players, Infinity Ward confirms support for 200 players is in the works. Before launch, they boasted about supporting even more than 200 players in a single match. Still, so far, Warzone's 150 limit has been the highest we've ever seen. Warzone's players have also discovered what appears to be several Easter eggs or secret areas tucked away on the map. At various locations, you can interact with specific objects like phones, computers, and keypads. Although interacting with them directly doesn't do anything, it's believed a future update may unlock new areas to explore using these items. Some players have reported splitting up and interacting with 2 items at once makes something happen. I'll be releasing some videos about Warzone soon, covering advanced tips, game updates, and more, so be sure to stay tuned for that. E3 has been canceled due to the ongoing public health crisis, which I cannot name by name or YouTube will demonetize this video. It's just the latest in a string of cancellations, postponements, and more being made to contain the situation. EGX Rezzed, another gaming-focused convention, has been delayed until this summer from its March 26 start date. In the esports world, both PUBG and Call of Duty's upcoming tournaments have switched to an online-only format. Many companies are also temporarily closing their offices and having their employees work from home. Battlefield's developers DICE are one such company. Battlefield 5's next major update, version 6.4, was initially slated to launch early April. Because the studio is shifting to working from home, the patch may end up getting delayed. And it's not fair to be critical of DICE for further delays with Battlefield 5 content due to that specific situation. However, it is still unfortunate that new maps and weapons will likely get pushed back because of it. All that said, DICE have asked players to bear with them but haven't announced any delays as of yet. As the situation with this health crisis develops, we'll do our best to keep you updated. The latest operation for Rainbow Six Siege is here. Void Edge adds 2 new operators, a rework of the map Oregon, and a ton of gameplay tweaks. Probably the biggest tweak is moving debris to server-side authentication. Before, this was handled client-side, meaning your computer would determine where a piece of debris went when created by doing things like shooting walls, blowing up reinforcements, etc. And because of that client-side situation, you could have situations where debris ended up on one spot for a player but in a different spot for everyone else in the server. Moving to a server-side system means everyone sees the same debris in the same spot. This helps eliminate unfair advantages created by debris that rendered for one player but not another. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds' latest update also makes some significant changes to the game. It adds the Panzerfaust rocket launcher to Karakin, buffs both the Tommy gun and UMP-45, as well as moves the M249 LMG from care packages to the general loot pool. The Panzerfaust is a one-time use item. Like the sticky bomb, it can be used to breach destructible walls and cover. The rocket can be detonated before hitting its target by shooting it mid-air. The Tommy gun now has an upper rail slot that supports the red dot and hollow optics. The UMP-45's damage, rate of fire, and muzzle velocity have all been slightly buffed. Among the game's online following, it seems like many players are growing frustrated with the game's development. Players have been asking for an improvement to the Tommy gun since the game initially launched 3 years ago. Moving the M249 to a general loot weapon could be somewhat devastating to the overall balance of the game. The bigger features like improvements to the game's audio mix, visuals, and performance are still missing in action despite being promised multiple times by the developers. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is undoubtedly one of the biggest games in the world, let alone in the Battle Royale genre. It's unlikely that that will change anytime soon, but with multiple Battle Royale games from major publishers competing for top spots and making massive strides towards that end, it puts pressure on PUBG devs to improve their game. Doom Eternal's launch trailer dropped and it's pretty stellar. It gives us a sneak peek at some legendary bosses returning from past games like the Icon of Sin. The game launches on March 20th for all platforms and includes a new port of Doom 64 for pre-launch customers. This port will be the first time the game has been officially available on anything other than the Nintendo 64. It's technically considered the proper Doom 3 as it takes place after the events of the first two games. It also features improved graphics and level design that rival the PC releases of the original games. But despite the improvements, Doom 64 failed to ignite the market in the same way the original games did. It did, however, develop a cult following over the years that is obviously very excited to finally have a port for other systems. At launch, it'll be available on the PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox, and Switch. It'll also include a new chapter that continues from its original final mission. The Epic Games Store finally has a wishlist system. On Steam, wishlisting is crucial to boosting a game's visibility. The more people that wishlist a game, the more likely it is to appear on the homepage. Developers use it as a marketing tool to help boost sales. It's also an excellent tool for customers that prefer to wait for deals for games they're interested in, as it automatically notifies you when there's a game price drop. The Epic Games Store has needed a wishlist system since its initial launch. It's now live for all users and features some dynamic search options. Notifications for wishlisted games going on sale or launching will be added in the future. Death Stranding's PC version reveal trailer included some extensive marketing for the game's collaboration with Valve's Half-Life Alyx. Several items and props from Alyx are bundled with the Steam version of Death Stranding. These include a head crab, a Valve cosmetic item, and the gravity gloves. Kojima has since revealed these aren't just cosmetic items. They'll have some sort of special feature. It's unclear if this means the gravity gloves will actually work as gravity gloves, or if they'll just have attributes like a regular glove item. Regardless, it's still kind of a cool crossover. Overwatch's lead writer and Blizzard employee of 20 years, Michael Chu, has left the company. Chu published a blog highlighting his experiences working on Blizzard games and the profound impact Overwatch's success with fans had on him. The blog post doesn't go into why Chu is leaving the company though. Overwatch's story elements exist mostly as a backdrop for the real meat of the game. And despite not being central to the gameplay in a meaningful way, the lore of Overwatch is hugely important to fans around the world. Trailers and cinematics diving into the game's narrative have amassed millions upon millions of views on YouTube. With Overwatch 2 including a proper story mode, it remains to be seen what kind of impact Chu's departure will have. The cult classic Blade Runner game from 1997 is finally getting a modern remaster. It was considered a standout title in its time and helped propel the point-and-click adventure genre to mainstream audiences. Despite its success, a sequel was never developed, and the rights to the game fell down a rabbit hole, culminating in the game's source code being lost forever. Night Dive Studios are handling the port. Their approach to remastering the game has been to reverse engineer its engine, port it into their own engine, and use a variety of AI tools to improve the original assets like cutscenes. We can expect updated character models, improved animations, widescreen resolution support, keyboard and controller remapping, as well as several other modern features. The original version of the game was recently launched on GOG.com, which is the first time it's ever been available for digital download. In our final story this week, new gameplay of Riot's upcoming shooter Valorant debuted. It showcased the character Viper. She can create a wall of poisonous gas, acid pools, and has an ability that covers an area with gas. For a game being positioned as a competitive shooter, it's weird to see such wildly powerful abilities in Valorant. Stuff like this might be considered imbalanced in a game like CSGO, which is clearly a game Valorant draws much of its inspiration from. That being said, you could draw a lot of similarities between some of Valorant's more fantastical abilities and Rainbow Six Siege's more tactical abilities, as they kind of result in similar effects. Both Counter-Strike Go and Rainbow Six Siege are huge in the esports scene, so there's always a chance that Valorant will make it as well. And that wraps it up for today's episode of This Week in Gaming. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.